fresh off of week 2 of the NFL. We're not talking sports this week. We could. It was an interesting week full of sports, I think. The Lions looked good, although, Templar, I think you and I and 9 of our friends could have beat up on the Chicago Bears, personally. And the Chiefs continue to underwhelm. I think that those were the big... Oh, and Joe Burrow. The Cincinnati Bengals don't know how to protect their assets.
Burrow got hurt. J.J. McCarthy is bad and hurt.
He is who he thought he was.
Yeah, the Chiefs are like mid. I mean, we'll see when they get their receivers back. We said we weren't going to talk about it though, so like, we can. But it was an interesting week. I would like. We could probably do an episode on. There's a lot going on this week. There's a lot of interesting conversations, and all of our predictions, I think, are already done. Most of them are already done. So so much for our division prediction breakdown things. The Colts. Daniel Dimes himself, like just lighting it up, like
Captain Daniel Dimes. Goodness gracious,
man! I was so upset that the computer auto drafted Danny Dimes as my 3rd quarterback, and he scored more points, I think, in the first 2 weeks than all. I think Dak had more than him this week, but like he scored more than both my quarterbacks in week 1. I think more than Stroud this week. So like.
Are you
what do I even do now? Because I'm not going to buy it. No, I'm not going to. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't. And if he's great all season, then that's awesome for him. I'm happy for you, Danny. But like, I'm not going to do it because as soon as I do it, he's going to become Danny Dimes that we know. And then it's going to implode. And I just don't buy it. So I can't do it.
Can I interest you in a little bit of Colts?
Bye week. Week.
No, it's
the
Colts.
The bye weeks. The bye weeks, I'll play him.
Okay, yeah, good call. But he's playing the Titans this week, dude, and I think I don't know. The Titans are bad, so
the Titans are one of those teams that's like you can't totally count them out. They won't be like an easy win, but like you should win. Like
yes,
like they'll be a tough. It might be a tough game. They'll like play you kind of tough, but you'll still beat them.
Yep.
Also, the Panthers have been really bad. Like
we're not talking sports. We're not talking sports.
Right, not talking sports.
We cannot talk sports because that's not what this show is. The Roundtable is here to wow you and astound you. We're currently in the middle of a bracket challenge as well, which you're going to be hearing more about next time. But for today, we were kind of scrambling a little bit for an episode earlier, and we've had this topic on the back burner, and Templar kind of unearthed it from the ground. And I forgot how excited I was to talk about it. And we've hinted at this before on previous roundtables. But there has been a constant reevaluation of particularly movies, but media from around the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, that has been happening in modern culture. Things that we once thought were crap might still be crap, spoiler on what we're going to talk about in a little bit, but are getting reevaluated and almost reimagined by the public. And so we kind of want to have that conversation about why that is and really touch on some of the things. And the best way that we thought we could get that started was with none other than the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Which it's kind of a dumpster fire if you look at it on the surface, but there are actual legit defenders of these 3 movies, and
more and more,
more and more, and it's almost I don't want to say epidemic because that word has a lot of things in the year of our Lord 2025 attached to it, but it is. It is a disease that is running through. And so I just had a couple of questions that I kind of wanted to ask you, Templar, to get all of this going. Like right off the top, what made the prequels so hated? Like transport yourself back to like you were middle school?
Yeah, I would have been 14, something like that when the first one came. When there was the first one, 2001.
Yeah,
so
I was.
Or 99, so I was 12. Yeah,
I was 17 when the first one came out, so that was 2001. or
That was 11 or 12. And I
99.
was excited for it because
Yeah.
I grew up with the original trilogy. I liked them a lot. And my dad and I, that was before the days of assigned seating. So,
Oh yeah.
and we just got to the theater. We waited 45 minutes, I think, in line to like get a ticket to get a seat. And we saw it on opening day. So,
Yeah, we did. I remember camping out for tickets because at the time we had to camp out for tickets. We had to do the thing where this was before you could do all the online ordering. This was before you could do all of the Ticketmaster shenanigans that have happened, get in line and all that other stuff. And so we camped out for tickets and we bought them. It was me and a bunch of like band nerd buddies, and then. So we bought the tickets on like the Friday before, I think. And then the Friday that it was, because there was no assigned seating, it was a midnight showing. And so we stayed up all Thursday. So like from Wednesday to Thursday, we stayed up and watched all of the Star Warses and got up to some shenanigans. I think one of us, myself, I pooped into a Dunkin' Donuts bag, and it was a thing. And threw it at somebody's house. It was a thing. We were delinquents. And then we then got there at like 6 o'clock the next day for the midnight showing, and there was already a line. Like people had camped out, and so we were camping out in that line, and we watched it, and I was equal parts overwhelmed and underwhelmed. And I remember leaving that theater going like, "We wasted all of our time for that. What are we doing?"
Yeah,
So,
I was young. I was young enough that I think I was kind of like, and I think I was sort of uncritical enough at the time where when I saw most things, I was like, yeah, it was fine. Like I generally had a good time with most things that I saw. So I think coming out of it, I didn't maybe love it, but it was fine. Like I thought it was solid. There were parts of it that I enjoyed a fair bit. So.
Okay, so but why did people hate it then? Like myself, I can tell you why I hated it, but the general consensus was that this was a kiddie movie made for kids and it kind of sucked. Why? Why did people think that?
I guess so, except that like a significant portion of it is like talking about treaties and like trade relations and like
Politics.
the Senate and like relation. Yeah, like so if it's a kids movie, then that is all kind of wrong.
I had a conversation. I had a
I
conversation
don't
with
know.
somebody earlier today about actually Revenge of the Sith, and he said it was the most political movie he's ever seen, and I said, "Excuse me," and he said, "Yeah. If you think about when Padme is looking out over the Senate and they're voting, and she says this is how democracy or a republic or something dies, with thunderous applause," I went, "Huh. I guess I can kind of see what you're saying. Like, yeah, this is a pretty political movie."
I'm giving it too much credit. It's fine. It's fine. It's not that deep. Like we're giving it too much credit with that analysis. Why is it bad? I mean, the first one is bad. Again, like way too much trade, politics, like whatever. No one cares. Like no one watched the original trilogy. That wasn't even in the original trilogy, really. Like we didn't get any of that.
Yep.
And I get that you're starting with it when it is a republic, and you're covering the transition to dictatorship. So like I get that like you're gonna have to do that somewhat, but way too much. Also, like focusing on a kid is just tough. Like it puts a ton on the plate of a very young actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the kid does a decent enough job with it, but you just don't want to focus on a kid in something. And if you do, then it has to be more lighthearted and has to be like the first Harry Potter does this way better, right? Like, because the first Harry Potter is a movie for kids, but it's lighthearted, it's kind of whimsical, it's sort of fun, it's like bringing you into this world. And it's not a perfect comparison because this is a prequel to something that already existed, but it's a very serious movie. Like a ton is on this kid's shoulders, and he just kind of can't do it.
Yep.
There's way too much bogged down in political type of stuff. I mean, and then like we have to talk about it, but like Jar Jar is bad. Like I hate this like idea to reclaim Jar Jar as some sort of decent character.
Hold on,
and I know the guy himself got a lot of like hate. The guy who played Jar Jar.
Yeah.
And like I don't want to get into all of that because that's not fair.
Yeah.
but like it's a bad character, like, and it's annoying. And so like there are some cool scenes in the first one, but most of it's just there's not a lot there to latch onto, and it's very unlike the original trilogy in terms of feel, like, because those movies are generally kind of exciting, like they're action, like you're building to something. Like A New Hope is also a pretty self-contained movie in that like everything happens. If there had never been another movie, that is a story being told, like you don't need to continue on, really. um and obviously like they knew they were going to do three, so you didn't do that. But a Phantom Menace also feels kind of incomplete, like it's not,
Mm.
like it feels like part one of three, which is also leaves it kind of lacking. So I mean, why were they bad? I just, the tone of them was all over, too much politics, some of the characters just weren't very good. A lot of use of CG character stuff that was like fine, but has aged poorly, I think, and Eve wasn't even really that great at the time.
Yep.
Even though I know the special effects were kind of heralded at the time, especially for some of the ships and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Why do you think they're like?
I agree with everything there. I was just looking at Jake Lloyd. Jake Lloyd, who was Anakin, kid Anakin, apparently was arrested in 2015 and spent a year behind bars. Also suffers from schizophrenia, which is that super sucks. And I think the story right here is told in the meta scores, right? 51, 54, and 68. I personally don't like Revenge of the Sith all that much. That being said, out of the three of them, it is the best one. Which is that's not saying a lot. I think
No.
there was three reasons why people hated it. Number one, Hayden Christensen. I know we're going to talk about reevaluation in a second, but at that time, Hayden Christensen could not act his way out of a wet paper bag. It was just one note, just all just seething the whole time. There was never, he was like a wax figure, right? So Hayden Christensen, number one. Number two, Jar Jar. Jar Jar, I know Ahmed Best he's a fine individual, all that stuff. That's fine. The comic relief that Jar Jar was trying to be was just not what we needed. And then we got tossed on our throat the excuse of, oh, well, look at the Ewoks and look at, R2 and C3PO. Like they were
Ewoks are bad. The Ewoks are the worst part of Return of the Jedi. Like
exactly.
They sold a lot of toys, but like that's why my argument of Return of the Jedi, like half of that is a good movie. Like the stuff with the Ewoks sucks. All sucks.
Yep. The whole all of the teddy bear stuff is awful. And I like Return of the Jedi. Like I don't mind that movie.
Yeah, I generally like it too, but that stuff is bad. The other stuff is interesting and like fun and like good adventure and like it's good. Like the other half of it is good, but all the stuff with the Ewoks sucks.
Yep. The third reason I think people hate it is because the idea that you're killing off Liam Neeson, the idea that you're replacing Liam Neeson with Ewan McGregor, who I think is a fine actor. I really do.
Sure.
But compared to Liam Neeson, he does not bring that gravitas to Obi-Wan. And you were looking for Obi-Wan to have a little bit more something. I think if Ewan McGregor could have carried and been the foil to Hayden's badness, I think we would have been in a much different spot. You had Natalie Portman, who, like, we have waxed lyrical about Natalie Portman on this very show before. We love her. Well, at least I love her, and I know you're pretty partial to her as well. She doesn't necessarily do a great job in acting, but like, she's not there really to act a whole lot. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, she's fine. She gets her like Leia moments, like Leia style moments, and she has some of her iconic like looks and things like that, similar to Leia from the original series. Like, and she's good. Like, I think she's doing what is asked of her fine, and obviously she's of the cast. I think she's probably the best actor, like one of them. At least for the main cast. Like, I'm not counting like Samuel L. Jackson, who's like a secondary character.
Yeah. I could go with you that far. I think Christopher Lee
Christopher Lee again, like Dooku, sure.
Yeah.
But like for like between her, Hayden, and Ewan, who really carry the, like, she's probably the strongest of the three in the trilogy, I think. So
yeah.
But she's not asked to do a lot. She's just kind of there.
She's asked to do a lot in the very last, kind of the last couple of scenes when she has to act like she's dying.
Sure, dying
That's
of a
like her,
broken heart.
yeah, that's her best acting out of the whole thing. So, and we could obviously this is an interactive. We want you guys to tell us like what you don't like about the movies, because there has been a reevaluation that has been happening, and I'm unsure. Well, okay. I'm going to give you a couple points to why I think people are reevaluating. In just a second, I'm going to talk about meme culture, and how I do think that meme culture has spurred on a revival. So let's put a pin in that one. I think right now we have millennials. So I'm a younger millennial. Technically, are you a younger millennial, or you were an older Gen Zer? Like, what's your generation?
I'm millennial. Yeah, I think I'm millennial. I forget what the cutoff is for it, but yeah.
So we're both millennials. There's a huge nostalgia. Like, this happens when you get into your late 30s, early 40s. You have a little bit of disposable income. You look back at the things that you wanted when you were a kid or younger, and you go, oh, that's cool. And there's a nostalgia. And so I think we're constantly reevaluating things and looking at them with rose-tinted glasses. And so there's nostalgia. We grew up with the prequels, and now we have this voice online that we can share about them. So that's number one. Number two, I think the Clone Wars series did a lot to repair the damage. I really do.
It did. Yep.
And then really the third thing, and I just watched a Critical Drinker episode about J.J. Abrams and the most recent trilogy. But the absolute dumpster fire of the most recent trilogy, all three of them, is lending the prequels to be better than I think we are letting on. What do you think about those, and kind of what are your thoughts? Why are people starting this reevaluation?
Yeah, I think the two main ideas, one is what you said, is that people generally are like, back in my day, like the back in my day is real. And I think so people look at like anyone who like, so I was 11 or 12, you were 17. So anyone who was like preteen, teen when these movies were coming out is probably now looking back on them and, thinking back with that nostalgia on those things. Right. So I agree with that. And then I also agree that with the sequel trilogy crashing and burning, people are probably looking back and being like, we didn't realize how good we had it. Like, we hated on these things at the time, but compared to what we have now, I mean, we had it pretty good or whatever. I don't know if I agree. Like, I don't think they're better than the sequel trilogy, to be honest. Like, I would watch Force Awakens over any of the prequels. Like, I don't think Force Awakens is some masterpiece, but like, it's better than any of the prequels in my opinion. Like, the other two, no. Like Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, no. We've talked at length about them.
Yes,
we don't need to rehash that.
Yes.
So no, definitely not. But I think Force Awakens is enough, even if it and service and like a new. It's good enough. But the prequels are, yeah. But I largely agree. I think it's nostalgia. Looking back at it, people want to re-engage with that, and a lot of what's come out in Star Wars since then has just been bad.
Yep.
So you look back at what came out previously and say, oh, hey, like we need to like hold on to this because this was actually good. Kind of like, I guess, what people did with the original trilogy when the prequels were coming out. Be like, my trilogy was better. Like, this is no good. So I think to some extent it's not something that naturally happens every kind of generation.
Yeah.
But then also I think specifically because of the way things have gone, people want to view the prequel trilogy as better than I think they were.
Well, okay, I want to throw this out to you then. I think it's called the Mario Kart phenomenon, to where your very first Mario Kart was the best Mario Kart in your eyes. There's a legit name, and I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Do you think so? So the idea behind the Mario Kart phenomenon, the Mario Kart theory, is that doesn't matter which Mario Kart you're playing, whichever one was your first one is in your eyes the best one. And we have a giant population of 20 to 25-year-olds right now who their first one was the prequels. That was the one they saw when they were 7 or 8 and they saw it on the Disney Channel. Or, you know, they're now 30 and their parents took them because their parents were huge Star Wars nerds. And so that's their first one. And so there's this, these people are finding their voice online. One of the things that is also fascinating is if you go to YouTube, there is a YouTube and TikTok in particular, there has been within the last 3 or 4 years a rise of people doing video essays. It's been there for a while, but even like the Critical Drinker who I've talked about, there's a number, the Nerd Logic guys, like there's a lot of these channels that do these essays, 25, 35-minute essays on the rise and the fall, or picking in, and there have been so many of these with the prequels that it has almost, I think, turned public opinion a little bit, because these people are 25, 30, and 35 years old. They're our age. This was their first Star Wars they saw in the theaters. This was the one that they bought all the toys for. This was all. And by the way, like, it does not hurt that Duel of the Fates is one of the best things that John Williams has ever written. And that Star Wars battle, or that lightsaber battle, with Darth Maul just kneeling or Darth Maul like seething and Qui-Gon kneeling between that force field, like while they're waiting for that thing to go up. That is so dope. That's like one of the best lightsaber battles there is. And so you combine all of that, and I think you get this creative reimagination of, man, Star Wars, huh? Like, if we could just return to this era of Star Wars, man, Captain Rex was awesome in the Clone Wars. Man, like that Anakin, that guy was super good in that. Like, I think if we can get a return to that, and you see it like in the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch came out in what? The second season of the Bad Batch or whatever came out in 2019, maybe? When did that come out? Stall for me. Bad Batch. 2021. Yeah. Came out in 2021. That got enormous reviews. 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.8 on IMDb, 82% on Google like the show. Like, that is a return to what Star Wars could have been in the early 2000s, and yet we didn't get that. So I don't know. I think there's that. Now, the first thing I want to go back to is meme culture. And you brought this up at the very beginning, but I think meme culture has a lot to do with why. Now, if I type in Star Wars memes, what's the first one I get? Okay, well, NFL fans looking at the Chiefs 2-0 record. Okay, but like, it's facts. But it's like, that's the first thing that pops up is a prequels one. Now, there's a couple of assorted, but out of the 6 of them here, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are from the prequels. You know, like it's the rise of meme culture has definitely had something to do with it. There's Hello There. I think that's the one you brought up. It is Palpatine standing in front of somebody and saying, "I am the Senate." You've got, you've got the unlimited power one. I think, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I'm just like trampling over your thoughts because I'm very excited about this. What are your thoughts about meme culture?
Yeah, I mean, the prequels have some good moments, like, but I think people just forget that these movies are like 2 hours long, and they're not like 5 minutes of memes and like just a couple of memorable scenes that you have from them. Like from Phantom Menace, the saber fight is great, and the pod racing scene is also pretty cool. I'm not giving you anything else from that. That movie's like 2 hours long. Like, that's like 15 minutes of it, 20 minutes maybe. Like, the rest of it is not that interesting. It's like pretty boring. And like the Hello There, like, that's Attack of the Clones. Like, and Attack of the Clones is kind of schlocky fun. There's like at least a lot of action in it, even if it's kind of like whatever's going on doesn't matter. But like the rest of that movie kind of sucks. Like, there's some cool action scenes, I guess, but there's not a lot going on. The like high ground stuff is like fine, but like, again, Revenge of the Sith is the best one, but even it's like not great. So I agree that I think meme stuff is keeping interest in the prequels and sort of keeping them in the public consciousness in a way that they probably wouldn't have been kept otherwise. But I also feel like that lends people to believe that the prequels are kind of better than they are, or that like it's full of these types of things. And it's like, just because you meme a bunch of it doesn't mean that the rest of it's good. these are like full length movies that are not that great, and even if they have a couple scenes that are memorable, that doesn't change anything really.
This is a good one.
So
It's a real good one. I just any D's nuts are good. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, the meme thing, but like our culture right now, just everything is memeable all the time immediately, right? Like our phones are designed to just spit memes at us. I feel like, and so it's no coincidence to me that Star Wars, one of the most memeable franchises of all time. I mean, this was all Star Wars all the time, right? That one's also a good one, but this was all Star Wars for all of the time, and yet, like, that's also a good one, the Kill Jabba outfit. But like at the same time, like it is just so memeable because a lot of it is just so cheesy and over the top and just, I don't know. And so I think that's also lending itself to part of the reevaluation. And then I kind of have one more little thing, and this one might, I don't know if it's going to trigger you or not. As I was doing a bunch of research for this, one of the things that kept popping up is that George Lucas went from a visionary. Oh my gosh, he's the visionary, ILM, Lucasfilm, he's the dude, to sort of this like flawed director. And he has all these foibles, and he wanted these big overblown things. And then he did the re-releases of the prequels that had like 20 extra minutes, but they were all green screened and they looked real bad, which they did. I remember seeing those in the theaters. I gave them $60 of my money to go see those. They were bad. And now the thing I'm seeing is that George Lucas is back to being this visionary, and I don't know why that is. Do you have any idea?
Well, Disney has fumbled it so badly that people are just kind of going back to the originator to say, like, to give him credit for the world building and what he created initially. That would be my guess, because like his actual work on the movies themselves, like, yeah, like he was responsible for the prequels. So, I mean, that's on him. You know, all the stuff from the original trilogy that's kind of iffy, that's all on him too. But then also all the good stuff, like the world building, the characters, like the stuff that's beloved from the series that has held up is also him, right? So it's like, you know, there's mixed opinion, but because Disney has just fumbled it so badly, at least in movies, it makes sense that people would be kinder to George, because it's like, oh, like, you know, we criticized him, but like without him, we wouldn't have any of this. The stuff we love was created largely by him. So it makes sense that there would be, again, like a reevaluation of him as well, because the prequels, I think at large, are not fresh. Like these moments are still kept around, but the movies themselves, I think, aren't. So there isn't that same level of criticism for him as there maybe once was.
I think also there's something. This is me coming fresh off of a critical drinker. I talk a lot about the critical drinker. I don't usually watch him. It's just his stuff keeps popping up into my YouTube recommended feed. So when I'm sitting down and eating lunch, like watching one of his essays is like the perfect time for me to eat a salad, like 13 minutes in and out. And he just did one about J.J. Abrams, and in that was talking about it's the crash and burn, kind of the rise and fall of J.J., which I don't necessarily know that J.J. has burned so much as she just kind of went away after the abomination of that last Star Wars movie. But regardless, one of the things I think that is interesting is that if J.J. is being looked at that, Lucas had that, but I think Lucas was able to withstand that because he also gave Lucasfilm over to Kathleen Kennedy and kind of said like, hey, Kathleen, you're going to run Lucasfilm and then sell it to Disney for $18 trillion. You're going to go do the day-to-day stuff. And I'm just going to go like blow stuff up on Skywalker Ranch the rest of my life. And I think that like when you take somebody out of public consciousness, you forget their flaws and foibles. And like George Lucas was his own worst enemy in a lot of these interviews, man. He came across as just the most arrogant, like hyper spiritual. I don't know. Like he was smarmy, just felt bad. And but you go away for 10 or 15 years, you make $1 trillion, and all of a sudden everybody, like the pull quote I had over here was, Lucas might not write great dialogue, but he tells myth like a champ. And like, yeah, okay. I can go with you on that, especially seeing, like A New Hope. It wasn't a great movie, but it set up Empire, which arguably is like a top 10 movie for me of all time. And
Oof.
it is. It is. Like I think that also hurts with the prequels too, is that the second, this is why people hated it, but Empire being the middle of a trilogy, you get whatever that the travesty was, the return revenge of the Sith. I don't know what it's called. The Republic Awakens.
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, there we go. But Attack of the Clones was not anywhere close, like even in the ballpark, even in the same continent as Empire was.
Sure.
So I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts about Lucas. There's also, I think, a respect for his ambition that I think is being reevaluated. That
Sure.
I don't know. To your knowledge, he's 81, by the way. George Lucas is 81. To your knowledge, if Lucas put out another movie, would you watch it?
I mean, I wouldn't go to theaters to watch it. No. I mean, to be fair, I don't go watch almost anything in theaters anymore. So like, that's not necessarily that indicative of anything. But like, let's say I was like, I wouldn't seek it out. No, I would probably wait and see what the reception was like. Was it all right? Like, you can try to get a sense for it, and then maybe I'll just watch it on streaming or something. Like, no, I don't have any nostalgia for George Lucas. Like, I'm sorry, I don't. Like, again, the world building is great, and like that quote is pretty good. His dialogue is not very good. There's some iconic lines, but there was also other people involved in making those original movies. Like, he wasn't even the director of them technically, right? Like,
yeah.
Wasn't it Katzenberg or something?
Steven Katzenberg,
who probably doesn't get enough credit. He did a good job with the mythology. Yeah, like that quote was good. The world building, the mythology was great. The like dialogue was not great, even in the original ones for some of them. Outside of some iconic lines. So, yeah, I have no like. If Steven Spielberg puts out a movie still, like, I'm mostly out on Spielberg at this point because I think he's like fully in his old man phase of his career, and he just doesn't really make movies like he used to. But, I still have a little bit of interest to see like what old Steve's up to. But George, I have zero interest. It doesn't matter. Like, I think he gave the world the Star Wars universe. I think that is his contribution. I think he's kind of done. Like, I just don't know if he has anything else really. And I don't, like, Disney has certainly not done a good job, but like, I don't really want him to tell any more stories in this universe either.
No,
like,
no, not at all. Did you ever watch Adventures of the Young Indiana Jones?
I did not. No,
it was pretty good. Sean Patrick Flannery was young Indy. It's pretty good. It was kind of stupid, but it was pretty good. Yeah. Sean Patrick Flannery from Boondock Saints. He was young Indiana Jones. Anyway, I'm just as you were talking, Captain EO. Like, as you were talking, like, Lucas has a lot of really good stuff, right? Like, outside of Star Wars, American Graffiti. I'm not the biggest fan of American Graffiti, but like it's there, and a lot of people like it. But then, of course, you have Indy, and like he's done a lot of really awesome stuff, and so I think people are being a little bit kinder to him now because they are looking back and going, man, we don't really have prolific producers and directors like that anymore. Like, we have Michael Bay. I mean, we have Christopher Nolan, okay, but like, we don't have people that are like Lucas that are inventing all of these worlds out of nothing.
Well, we don't have a lot of new IP, right? Like, new IP is not popular because it's riskier to come out with new IP. And it's oftentimes kind of fumbled when it does come out because it's just not sold correctly, or they're not willing to kind of fully actually push it. So they end up kind of half doing it, and then it tanks, and then they say, well, people don't want new IP. And it's sort of a self-fulfilling cycle there, or self-fulfilling prophecy. So yeah, that's true. There's not that many directors making good, like, original stuff. I mean, there's like Denis Villeneuve, who's made a lot of good movies, but they're mostly been adaptations.
Right.
Like I don't know how many original films. Like Arrival was an adaptation, and Blade Runner was a sequel. Dune was obviously an adaptation. So he makes great movies, but they're not original movies. Nolan, well, I guess he did an adaptation. He's done adaptations as well, like, but he adapted like he did like a biography into Oppenheimer, and he's doing like the Odyssey, but he's made original movies in the past. So yeah, there's just not that, and studios are not as willing to take big risks on, hey, here's this huge original idea that I have for something. Like, it's just not, they're not willing to put their money behind it. It's too risky. So no, we're not going to get a lot of people like, I mean, where you maybe get that is more like in books or things like that. And then if it's successful, then maybe you get an adaptation like a Harry Potter or like a Twilight or like a Hunger Games or something that the books hit and then you get adapted into movies, and then it's a big world that people enjoy. Like straight, like just starting out in movies is tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess so. I don't know what his involvement in Indiana Jones was like, because I give more of the credit
to Spielberg.
To Spielberg, right?
Yeah.
So like I have no idea what Lucas's involvement even was in those movies. So.
I know he was producer, and then he was doing ILM. Like ILM was technically under him at that point, and so they were helping with some of the stuff.
Sure. So.
But anyway, that's that. I'm also scrolling through his IMDb page. It's just like, there's just so much money here. Like, his name is attached to every single piece of Star Wars IP that's out there. And like, good for you, Lucas.
Well, yeah, I mean, literally every Star Wars thing will be, created by George. Like, it's all created by George Lucas. So.
I mean, he's worth $5.4 billion in 2025. Whoa. Good for you, dude. Good for
him. Good for him.
Good for you.
He did. He came up with an idea and he ran with it. So
yeah, and he ran it into the ground, and now we have the Star Wars prequels. Real quick before we go, before we get out of here, two things. I want to wrap up the discussion by asking, what are your, in order? Give me your top of the prequels. Like, rank them 1, 2, 3, or 3, 2, 1.
My order for them is kind of boring because it's just reverse order that they were released in. It's just 3, 2, 1. Like, the third one's the best one. The second one, like, in some ways, I think is maybe worse than the first one, but like, it's kind of more fun and schlocky. Like, there's just more like kind of action stuff going on in it. So like, as a movie, it's maybe a little worse, but like, which would I rather watch? I'd probably rather watch Attack of the Clones, because at least there's some, like, Grievous is kind of a fun design and there's some fun action stuff in it that I'm okay with. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith is the best one. I think people overstate that. It's not some masterpiece. Like, it's fine. It's like good. But it is the best of the three. And then the second one, and then the first one, and shout out Bougie in our community, because he stands by his take that Phantom Menace is the best Star Wars movie overall. So shout out to you, man. But I can't go there with you. Yeah, I can't go there with you.
It's okay. We're all allowed to be wrong at some point in our lives, and he's wrong on this.
Yeah, we all got takes. It's fine.
Yeah, we all got takes. I'm gonna join you in that as well. Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace. Funnily enough, when I got married to my wife, so we legendarily had a 2004 Ford Explorer. We drove around forever. My wife she bought it brand new, and it had, I think we had, when we sold it, it had like 215,000 miles on it or something. We drove the heck out of it. It had a DVD player in the back. It was like one of the first. It was amazing. Like, it had a flip down DVD player, crappy little screen for 2004, but that's why she bought it, so that the kids could like stay entertained, right? Well, I heard so much of Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones behind me as we were driving. Like, it was those two, and it was Despicable Me. Those were the three that the kids would watch, and then like there was some Bible adventures and stuff that we would put on, and they'd hang out. But by and large, it was that. She never, before we got married. So the kids were obviously they're my stepkids, so they're not my full blood kids, although they call me dad. I'm their dad, whatever. But she would not allow them to watch Revenge of the Sith because Our oldest watched it when he was, what would he would have been 5 when it came out. He watched it when he was 5, and the scene where Anakin gets burned, he had nightmares. And she's like,
Sure.
"No, you guys are never watching this." And so to this day, like, we've watched it all together, but even to this day, all 3 of the kids like, I don't know, man, should we watch this? Like they have that they have that thing like, Mom wouldn't let us watch this. Like we don't want to disobey Mom. Like I guess it's kind of cool, right? Mom guilt it lives forever. Yeah.
Sure.
So anyway, anything to clean up? Any more thoughts on the reimagination of, or the reevaluation, excuse me, of the prequel trilogy here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they're still trying to trade on it, though. I mean, they did it. They had the Obi-Wan show, right? Like they tried to bring back Ewan again and Hayden again. So they're still trying to like make money off the prequels. It's interesting how much difference there is between how successful they've been kind of in animation and TV that has generally been quite good, and how poorly everything has gone on film. There's been such a dichotomy there.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. That I have no idea. Like because even the live action television stuff, generally speaking, has not been good.
Yeah.
Other than maybe the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, I know were well praised, but like everything else, like Obi-Wan was bad. Well, and I mean, Andor is good. We've talked about Andor at length. It's good. But Boba Fett was bad. Like, and I don't like Skeleton Crew. I didn't really hear much about. I don't know. The Acolyte was terrible. So I don't know why. Like, I don't know if they just have different creatives involved with the animation side compared to the live action side, and they're just more, I think it's engaged, or I think
it's also easier to do
storytellers.
It's easier to do science fiction, big bombastic stuff like that animated. It's way easier to do it. There's less of the volume screen. There's less green screen. There's less, Pedro Pascal doing his smoldering thing. There's less Ahsoka. Like, Ahsoka actually works in the Clone Wars, and Grievous actually works in the Clone Wars because you can make him sort of bombastic, right? Like you could do that. Whereas you try to give like a human a lot of these things, and I don't know. I maintain that Hayden Christensen, I understand we could probably do an episode on the reevaluation of Hayden Christensen, because I still think he's a terrible actor. I know there's a show that he's being lauded for, but like he is completely one note. And yet Anakin in the Clone Wars is expressive. There's some like heartfelt scenes in there. Like, yes, I'm not going to go overboard. Sure. It's like it's an animated series. Like you're not going to cry, but like, there are some moments in season 3 and season 4 where you're like, dang, this cartoon's got range. And, I think it's a lot easier to do that than it is to do with bad casting calls. Also, what I think is interesting, and this has nothing to do with the prequels, what happened to Daisy Ridley? Remember, she was poised to take over the world.
Yeah. And I don't even like, I don't like the sequel trilogy, but like I didn't come out of that trilogy really thinking that negatively about her.
No, but she kind of fell, to be honest,
she's like, she's pretty likable even in those movies when I don't like them. Even though I don't think Rey's a very good character, she's just kind of a likable actress. So, yeah. I mean, she was in wasn't she in one of the like Poirot movies with Young
Woman in the Sea?
Yeah, okay. I know she's done some like smaller, like fairly serious stuff, but yeah, she was in a Poirot movie with I forget his name now. Like the Murder on the Orient Express. Like she was in one of those.
Oh, Marshall's daughter?
I think. No,
that's
so she's done a bunch of smaller stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. She's just hanging out. Like, I don't know what's going on with her, because she was supposed to be the it. Like, I mean, she seemed primed to be the it, but that happens sometimes. I mean, I was watching something the other day that had Alicia Vikander in it. Ooh. And she was another one that was like supposed to be kind of the it person for a minute there, and then she didn't.
She fell after Tomb Raider. She kind of fell off.
Yeah, because what was I? Oh, yeah, I was watching Bourne. Because Sarah and my wife and I, we watched all the with all the Bourne movies.
Hmm.
And she's in the last one they did, which was
How'd
a
that
while
go?
ago now. They're fine. I mean, I think they're fine. The first three are solid. The Bourne Legacy one with Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner is, I think, fine. Like, I think that movie got maybe more hate than it kind of needed to get. The newest, like the Jason Bourne, the fifth one they did was whatever. But the first four, I think, are all pretty solid. And the original trilogy, I think, holds up pretty well, honestly. So, yeah, Marie on the Orient Express. But that was already like 8 years ago. So, yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
She's done a bunch of small stuff. I don't know if she'll kind of break back out again. But, yeah.
Well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this episode. Stay tuned. We've got a couple of other re-evaluations. In particular, I think I almost think it would be fun to talk a little bit about X-Men as well. There's been a re-evaluation of particularly the first X-Men. But
Okay.
I think there's, in light of the superhero fatigue, I think people are looking back on those movies. I also would love to do a reevaluation of Mission Impossible 2. We just watched that movie.
Oh, okay.
And I have to tell you, and I didn't think anything of it. And then I went online and I started looking more about it. And people are, it was widely at the time, this is a spoiler, well, not even a spoiler. At the time, it was it was like, oh my gosh, John Woo killed the franchise. And J.J. Abrams brought it back, which I thought was an interesting little quirk.
He did. Yeah.
And so
Mission Impossible 3 was a good movie.
It is a good movie. And so I'd love to kind of talk through that. We've got some others. I think we've talked about some others too. But anything else before we jump up on out of here, Templar?
No, I think that about does it. We'll be doing our bracket is still going on, so we'll be having an episode on that probably coming up.
Yep.
We're letting that kind of sit, get some more votes. We're down to the semifinals now, so getting as much as we can, and then we'll be talking about that and breaking things down. And we'll be having more NFL content at a few points in the season. There's lots of interesting things to talk about, and so yeah, lots to come.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for hanging out at the Roundtable. Until then, we love you. We miss you. Make good choices. Ta-ta.